Hello and welcome to Writernaama. Glad to see you all with good numbers and beautiful faces, at least the DPs. So today is a special session, special because it is on writing and more special because it is by my mentor. So as we know the topic that it is about the art of effective written communication. And so to dive deeper into the topic, I would like to talk about the speaker. Most of you know him. So I can say that Mehernosh Randeria naam to bahut saron ne suna hoga. And so glad to have all the known faces here who already know him. And talking about him, there are two types of people. One whose introductions can be narrated by writing on paper, and others whose introductions don't even fit on a mind map. So he's in the second category. So pardon me if I forget so many labels and so many laurels attached to him. But basically, he is the NLP master trainer. He is so many things actually, and that's why I said a mind map would not be sufficient. And he is what not certified ICF PCC coach and all, and a corporate trainer and India's one first and I guess the last also the W3 NLP coach. So W3 is wealth, wisdom, and wellness. So he focuses on all three, all of his coachings and trainings. So you want to go ahead with any of these, just touch base with him. And apart from that, if I introduce him in my own way, that would be my dad used to say one line in Hindi. So that used to be from the Madhushala. So raha pakad tu ek chala chal pa jayega Madhushala. And I took it very seriously. And since then, whenever I'm learning something new, I pick up just one mentor. And from there, I get my Madhushala. And in NLP, I haven't learned from anyone else because the way he taught us, I guess most of us agree because most of us are NLPians here. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming for those who are new to it. And so he's that mentor for me. Raha pakad tu ek chala chal pa jayega Madhushala. So in English, it's like just pick up one way and keep going and you will reach your destination. So he's that mentor for most of us, I would say. And with that, I welcome him on board for taking up this wonderful session about writing. And so yes, Mehernosh, over to you.
Thank you, Heena, for the wonderful, powerful introduction. I don't know whether I'm going to. I can only say that I'm going to be part of you in the Madhushala. Okay, not the leader, but हम भी आपके साथ साथ में मधुशाला में मगन होके कुछ ना कुछ अच्छा ही निकलेगा. So are we ready for some Madhur Madhushala today? So welcome everyone, and it's my pleasure to be here on Writernaama platform. So before I begin, quick question to all of you. When you look at written communication, what comes to your mind? When we talk about, you can unmute and type or whichever is fine. Okay, it's a message writing, of course. Yeah. Grammar. Yep. Okay. I'm smiling at the grammar. Some of you know my quote on grammar. I'll talk about it. Okay. Yeah. Somebody was asking, could you repeat the question? When it comes to written communication, what comes to your mind? What does it represent for you? The way you convey the message, the way of communication, clarity in communication, creativity, points to be covered, workplace communication, self-explanatory, ability to articulate, business communication. Interesting. Interesting. Great. Content. Yeah. Okay. So I guess you are all on the right lines, conveying the message. Yeah. Meaningful and easy to understand. Yes. So when I guess most of you here are from the NLP background, okay, have been with me in the NLP journey together. either at practitioner level or master practitioner level. And even if you have not been in the NLP journey, it is perfectly fine. Because today the objective is not to teach NLP. The objective is written communication. And where better than Writernaama, we can talk about writing. And while most of you may realize that Writernaama is about writing books and blogs, but the real core of writing comes in any kind of communication, any kind of written communication. So there is one core principle in NLP. I'm not teaching you NLP, I'm just giving some highlights of some principles from there. That who do we communicate to? In normal communication, who are we communicating to? Who are we communicating to? To people, to the receiver of the message, right? Yeah. To whom? We have somebody in mind, the objective in mind, the other person. It could be customers, the team, the boss, the prospect, whoever it is, right? Other people. But right, Nirupama has rightly pointed out that before we communicate with any other person, the real communication happens with self. And simply put, it is not that you're writing to yourself when you're writing to somebody else, but you are writing to the perception that you are having of that other person in your mind. I want you to pause and think about this. When you're writing to someone, let's say you're writing to a boss or you're writing to a subordinate, what changes? What changes? What your perception is about that person in your mind, that changes and that reflects in the tone. That reflects in the tone of your writing. What is that person, the person to whom I'm writing, the person with whom I'm communicating in a way? Written is just one of the forms of communication. But when we are communicating to someone, what is it that we have in mind about that other person? That will somehow conduct or govern the way we are writing to the other person. Would you agree? Pause, reflect, and think. Right? So if we are communicating to a person, let's say in a corporate setting, in a business setting, let's say you're communicating to a client or to a boss, the perception that you are having about the boss, okay, whether he is khadus or whether he is gentle or whether he is going to be approachable or not, that is going to drive the way you are going to write in your communication, just as it happens in the verbal oral communication also. So just keep this in mind. Okay, when you're writing, the content matters, the receiver matters, as some of you have already put, to whom you're writing, why are you writing. So keep that in mind. So when we talk about the art of effective communication, what is the superpower that you can have? The answer is there on the slide already. But what is that superpower that you can have in your mind when you write anything to anyone? What the answer from the slide? Come on, tell me. It's there on the slide. What is that one superpower that can change the way you communicate? Yes, clarity. Clarity. Okay, Shaktivel has written in UPSC mains exam, you write a lot here communicating the exam invigilator. Look at that. You are supposed to show your knowledge, but what is the person you're writing to? The exam invigilator, and that person's perception, or rather your perception of that person, is there. That how do I, come across to that person? So, what is writing all about? Some of you may be thinking I'm throwing googlies at you today. But what is writing all about? What do you think? Communicating our perception, communication, yes, thinking clearly, exactly, expressing ourselves. But what are we expressing? You can write effectively only to the extent that you think clearly. Writing is an expression of our thoughts on paper or digitally, whichever way it is. But unless your thoughts are clear, that's why we are saying that make clarity your superpower. What do we mean by that? That when thoughts are clear, the communication becomes effective. Yeah, it's deep, right? So, so what is it that you really want to communicate? To whom it is that you want to communicate? So that is what we are going to see today. So let me quickly take you through what you are going to really experience today. Number one, why writing problems are not about writing. Writing problems start with thinking. How are we thinking? Our perception, our putting our thoughts together. When we talk about expression of our thoughts, expression of what we want to communicate in writing, what shapes our expression is our emotion. By the way, emotion is also our mental state. So how our state shapes our expression. I'll share some quick NLP tools that will upgrade clarity and influence. Having said that, I'm again clarifying it's not mandatory that all of you would have any kind of knowledge on NLP. I'm not expecting you to understand NLP jargons, so I'm not going to use many NLP jargons. But the idea is how to bring effectiveness in your communication. NLP is just my forte as a background, so I'll blend that in whichever way. Okay. Yeah, Yogita is sharing it's also about your belief. Exactly. Your belief also governs your state and your perception, right? So, practical framework that you can start using instantly. And I'm going to also share a special invitation of a program that Heena and I are coming up together, which is called as NLP Writers Code, Season 2. Okay, so stay curious about that and let's see what lies ahead. So, why most people struggle with writing? Tell me as you agree with, just type in yes if you agree with the points which come up over here. Weak vocabulary. Do you think that is one of the problems in writing? Yes. Okay. Okay. Some of you are agreeing with this. Good. Poor grammar. Yeah, Shrestha, interesting point. Poor grammar. How do I structure it? What grammar could be there? Not being creative enough to put it in the right way. Would you agree? Right? Being crisp is a challenge. Okay. Yeah. It can be related to their earlier experience. Yeah. Okay. So we would all agree that these three are the main points why people struggle with writing. Now let me share a secret with you that these are just myths. These are just outer level points which people think are coming in the way of writing. So what is the reality? Let's see. But why do we call them myths? Have you seen people who are able to communicate effectively, even with simple vocabulary? Do you need to be like Sashi Tharoor or have wonderful, rich vocabulary to write very well? You don't need to be like that, right? Thank you, Hina. Okay. So keep it simple. Keep it simple. You don't need to upgrade your vocabulary. Upgrading and learning is, of course, a value of upgrading yourself, but that doesn't need to come in the way of your writing or of your thinking that will it be effective. Vocabulary, grammar, creativity, these are outward parts of putting the writing into a certain structure, communicating what you want. And earlier I mentioned why I was smiling at the word grammar when somebody mentioned grammar. Because the core here is what I truly believe, and again, coming from one of my quotes from the book Thoughtfully Yours, is that language doesn't have to be only grammatically correct. More importantly, it needs to be dramatically correct. With all the best of grammar, if you're not able to create the impact that you want, then that grammar, the grammatical correct part is not enough. So how in your language can you make it dramatically correct rather than only focusing on making it grammatically correct? So let's see, what is the reality? What are the real struggles with writing? First and foremost is your thinking. The muddled up thinking that most of us have when we are putting something together. Even with tools like AI, even with tools like Grammarly or whatever will be there, Grammarly will only correct the grammar. It will tell you what is grammatically correct. It will not tell you what is dramatically correct. A lot of emotional clutter could be there. That, okay, the perception that I spoke about, the beliefs that I spoke about, what is happening? What do I want to convey? Samne wale ko kya lagega? What will that person think about it? You realize that all this puts a lot of stress and pressure more than bringing out the simplicity of what you want to express. Another one is, of course, lack of structure. So you don't need, of course, you don't need to be an expert in grammar and vocabulary and creativity. You need to be an expert in putting structure to your message. With whatever level of vocabulary, grammar, and creativity you already have. At this juncture, let me stop and ask you, what thoughts are coming to your mind? Just share in the chat. How are you able to relate to what we are covering so far? How are you able to relate to it? How to be dramatically correct? That's what we're going to talk. Putting structure, emotional clutter. Yeah. Which part you feel you can most resonate with in terms of these pointers? So if I were to reframe the struggles, what is it that you struggle with most while writing? Clarity, yeah, unclear thoughts, or could it be overthinking, or is it flow, or is it fear of judgment, which is the emotional clutter? Lack of words, which is also kind of flow. All okay. Overthinking, fear of judgment, sometimes flow. Okay. Great. It could be all, it could be a mix of few of them. Think about it, right? Flow or fear of judgment. You realize vocabulary, grammar, and creativity are secondary. What is needed is this weaving the theme. Interesting. Feeling of frustration for not making progress. Great. Thank you for sharing that. And Shrestha is sharing a very interesting question. A thought which comes that all topics have been covered, what to write about? Can I share one simple secret of this? You are right that all thoughts, all topics have been covered, but nobody has covered it the way you would cover it. Think about it. Everything is already out there. Maybe even what I'm sharing right now is already out there. Then why should you be here? Why should I talk about it? What is new? I'm bringing in me into it. And when you bring in you into what topic has already been covered, that is the difference that can make the difference, Tishta. So understand one thing. Your writing is not weak. Your state is. And your emotional and mental state leaks into every sentence that you write. And at this juncture, let's stop and think about something that I'm sure, even if you may identify some struggles in your writing, I'm sure there may be times when you have written something wonderfully well, very impactful. And I'm not talking about only writing content in terms of blogs or topics or books over here. The idea here is any kind of written communication. Think about it. Take two contrasting examples. One where you wrote something and it landed beautifully well, in the sense that whatever impact you wanted it to have, it got. Whatever influence you wanted it to have, it got. Think about a situation like that. I'm sure there may be plenty. Think about at least one like that. You have one thing in mind? Yes? Okay, I'll repeat. Think about one situation, one thing that you wrote as a written communication that landed beautifully well, that created the impact that you wanted to create, that had the influence that you wanted to have, that convinced somebody to an extent that you really went, wow, it worked. I wrote this and it worked. It just went, if we are talking about blog, it just went viral. Or even if you're talking about an email, just that one email that you sent or one WhatsApp message that you sent was so powerful that you had a problem situation and you tackled it with one message. Think about a situation like that. And as you think about a situation like that, reflect and tell me what worked in that situation. What worked for you in that situation? Yeah, the uniqueness that I bring into it. Yeah. The same answer to the same question but written differently makes it unique. Yes. Allowing myself to be vulnerable. Beautiful. Which is also about the flow that we are talking about, the flow state. Feelings, spontaneity, clarity, power of expressing. Keeping it simple and to the point. Awesome. Come on, everyone. I want you to think about a message, any kind of written communication that you wrote that worked very powerfully, very impactfully. Emotional connection. Great. Come on, I'm waiting for a few more answers before I come to the point. Come on, everyone, please think and tell me what worked over there. Relatability to reader's life, authenticity, avoiding emotional overload, seeing things as it is. Thank you. Awesome, wonderful sharing, everyone. Now just scroll up the chat box and see. Has anybody written vocabulary, grammar, creativity? What worked is the state of flow. What worked is your connection. What worked is keeping your emotional clutter aside. What worked is thinking from the person's point of view, relatability to the reader's life. And that is the power of effective communication. Very often we go back into thinking that what is not working? How can I make it work? And all those, as we talk about looking deeper into the problem, will only highlight what does not work. But all those familiar with NLP know that NLP is the study of what works. And this is just highlighted by your responses that what works is what you have written. Example I frequently use EMI. Yes. Encourage, motivate, inspire. Wonderful, Pinaki. So, what works is this foundation of powerful writing: intention, state, and structure. No matter what the situation, no matter how grim, how tense, how challenging the situation may be, apply these three pillars of clear writing. Pillar number one, intention. What is the outcome that I want? Let's do it this way. Before I open up all the pillars, I want you to think about a current situation where you are currently in the midst of something that you have to express through written communication. It could be a client who has an objection and you want to express that by resolving that. Or it could be a boss whom you want to apply for leave. Okay. Or it could be a team member you want to write to. Or it could be your audience you want to write a blog to. Or simple WhatsApp message to in a family group. Think about a current situation. And if you don't have a current situation which is kind of struggling according to you right now, very good. Then think about a hypothetical situation which may happen like that, where you wonder that, how will I put it in the right way? Okay, I want you to keep a situation, a live, real situation for you from your real life in mind, so that the three pillars I talk about, you can relate and apply it right now in the session, rather than just understanding a theory behind it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Something that you would like to express, something that you need to communicate, but you are not sure how it will work out. Okay. And as you are thinking about that, think about what is the outcome that you want. Outcome means what is the intention? What is that you want the reader to do, to behave, or to think or believe in a certain way? I'll pause for a few moments for you to crystallize that. What is it that you want as an outcome from your written communication? Take a very specific example, not general. If you don't have a specific example, create a hypothetical example which could come up in your life or which has come up earlier in your life, but make it real now. Don't generalize. Okay, always I want this. A simple, clear example. Okay, have that in mind. All right. Having that in mind, the next thing is, if you are writing about it, what are you feeling while writing? What emotions are showing up? And you can share in the chat. What is something that you really want to write about to a particular person or a particular group of people? What state are you in as you even think about it? So that is the second pillar. What state are you in as you think about it? And the third pillar is, what structure can I put to my thoughts? So there is an outcome that you want. There is something that you are feeling. And now, if you have to put a structure to the thoughts, what is the structure? Yeah, your own state, Dipali. Your own state. What are you feeling about that sense of writing? It could be overwhelming, it could be frustrating, it could be confusion, it could be anger or irritation, or it could be a happy flow state also. What comes to your mind? Recognizing these three are the main pillars of clear writing. So as we look at the slide, I want you to now pause, come back here and look at the slide and tell me what is coming to your awareness as we look at these three pillars. What do you feel? What do you feel about this? If you look at a writing that really worked for you, you will realize you already used this. If you look at your own writing that did not work for you, think about it. Which pillar was missing? Yes, a good post. State of mind matters when I'm writing. Yes. So, which pillar is often as a pattern or most of the time missing for you only in those situations where your writing is not up to the mark, according to you, or where it has not created the desired impact? Pause, reflect, and then respond in the chat. Where is it not working? What is missing? What is missing? Intention is missing. Writing is more of a catharsis at times. Okay. Okay. Now, what kind of writing are you talking about? If you are writing a journal, okay, you're writing in the journal, you're writing your thoughts, you are just letting go of your emotional baggage, then intention is catharsis. That is fine. But if you're writing an email or a WhatsApp message, let's say expressing to a partner or a team member or a family member that I want something from you and this is what is needed for you to take action. And in that, if you are not mentioning what the person has to do, what we call as a call to action, if the call to action is not there and you just highlight the problem, what is happening, this is happening, that, then definitely that is a catharsis as well, which is not required over there. Because there, in this situation, the intention is not catharsis, the intention is call to action. So your context will decide the intention also. And if the intention is missing, then that is something to pay attention to. Right? Most important, like even in NLP, when we talk about the three pillars, what are they? Outcome, awareness, and flexibility. I'm sure some of you are able to relate to that over here. Right? But that outcome is the number one. So having that in mind, that as a result of my communication, what is it that I want the other person to do or believe or act? Yes, Dipali is saying state and mostly structure. Yeah. So the state is there within us at all times. We cannot operate without emotions. And in the earlier slide, when I said that the problem, the real problem in writing is about emotional clutter. That doesn't mean you switch off your emotions. You become aware of your emotions. And the question here for the state is also, what am I feeling while writing? So when you are becoming aware of the emotions, the next step to recognize is that the emotion which I'm having right now, is it something which will help me to write better? Or is it something that will reduce my effectiveness in writing? So which means I need to do something about the state. Is it a flow, happy state, or a curious state, or a well-intended state? Or is it a state that is putting me into a negative zone, which is not going to help me? Basically, resourceful or unresourceful state, right? And structure. Structure is what the core of the how of the written communication depends on. What do we put? What masala do we put? What structure do we put in? And that is the core learning part. So one is outcome is something that you already know. State is what you have to be aware of and convert it into something that is more desirable, more resourceful. And structure is how to put it in a way that the other person gets it. So let's talk about one by one. The intention filter. Before writing anything important, ask yourself, why am I writing this? What is my purpose of writing? What is the outcome that I want? And here it is very important to understand or be clear when you're specifically writing to someone specific that as a result of my communication, what change it has to create in the other person's thoughts or behaviors. Okay. So I want you to take an example from your real life and write in the chat in one sentence, taking the example that you have. Why are you writing it? What is your intention? What is your intention? To let the customer know this is final and no regret price. Excellent. Great example. Now, when you have that intention in mind, and for those who have not written, think about it at least, even if you're not sharing it in the chat, think about it so that whatever I'm going to tell you next will tell you why that intention is important. It tells your mind where to go. It removes the noise. It sharpens your expression and it prevents unnecessary rambling. Highlighting the points that matter to the customer or the end user, negotiating with a clear message to convince the client to get desired outcome. Thank you for sharing. Right? So you need to have that clarity. And that clarity comes from what is your intention behind your communication. So, what are some tools that you can use to get this intention clear? What do you feel? Any thoughts? Anyone would like to share in the chat? Every behavior has positive intention. Yes. 5 why questions. Okay. Yeah. So ask yourself, why are you even doing that? Good. What else? Chunking. Yeah. Chunking will help you as a, yeah. So you chunk up to know what is the higher purpose of this. 5W1H, get into the shoes of the other. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. What you need to do is you want to exactly get into the shoes of the other person. Firstly, understand your own shoes also. Okay, not just getting in the shoes of other person, but understand what exactly you want. How will the message that you want to convey help you in getting the outcome that you want? How many of us have heard this before several times? Get in the shoes of the other person. We all know, right? In NLP, we call it perceptual position as well, understanding from the other person's point of view. I would like to add a small nuance to it. Get into the shoes of the other person and be curious where the shoe is pinching them. Because otherwise, there is no outcome of getting into the shoes of the other person. Getting into the shoes of the other person with a curiosity that how would it matter to them. So intention is also understanding why this communication will matter to me, but at the same time understanding how will it matter to them. What will they get as a result of it? Pain point. Yeah. So let me share an example with a recent coaching client I had just yesterday. I was coaching this client, and he wanted a certain information from another colleague from a different department. Okay, it was into manufacturing and operations, and he is an R&D, and he wants certain information from another colleague from another department in operations. Now, why does he want that information? Why does this, let's say, colleague A, let's say my client, colleague A, wants information from colleague B? Because the customer is following up with colleague A to get certain things resolved. Okay. But A needs information from B about a certain type of tool that is used in the machine so that he can resolve it. Now, when I was discussing with this person, with my client A, I asked him, what is the intention? And he said, yeah, this is the intention. I want to do this. Fair. I asked him, what is the state that you are feeling right now? So his answer was, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling a sense of fear because the person from whom I have to ask the information, that is B, is one thing doesn't report to me, is in another department. Not only doesn't report to me, in levels of seniority, is senior than me. So I've already followed up. I've already asked him. He's not responded. What to do? So the point is, now understand, each of you here, in this situation, what do you think? Why is colleague B not responding to colleague A? What do you think? Okay, A needs certain information, not relevant, exactly. B is thinking, what, not feeling worth. I don't have time for all this. He might not feel it important. Intention is not communicated properly. He's busy, right? So, but what A is feeling? A sense of the state is overwhelmed, fear. How can I ask? He's reporting to the MD directly. How can I go and ask him? Now you recognize that. Is it working? Is it not working? Is that fear going to help you or do you need clarity? Now we need clarity. Now understand this. I'll share with you what worked out in the flow over here. I asked him, what do you think he's so busy in? And he said he's busy because he is constantly into a lot of firefighting situations, a lot of last minute troubleshooting comes to him and his department. So they are constantly busy over there. Okay. So why is he busy? Why is he not responding to A? Not because he thinks that A is not important, not because he thinks that A is inferior or junior to him. He is not responding. B is not responding because he is busy in other firefighting and other emergency situations. So my question to A was, the information that you want from B, how will that help B? How will B benefit from giving you that information? Now, his first response was, no, this is something I have to deal with the client. B का कुछ connection ही नहीं. So I said, calm down. Okay. Manage your state. come into clarity. And of course, I did the state management process. Just cutting it short for you here. So what needs to happen? I mean, how will we benefit if you are able to get that information? So he thought about it and he said that, okay, so if the client gets what they want, then it will prevent further escalation and another emergency for beef department. Are you getting it? Yeah, less customer complaints, less firefighting. Exactly. How will B benefit? Because if this is solved at this level, it will not escalate it to beef department. So now the question was putting a structure to it. How can you put a structure to your communication so that B sees his benefit in this? And the way forward was to write a follow-up message to B that the information that I want is urgent because it will prevent further emergencies for your team. And this was a discussion he had yesterday with me. And today he sent me a email that that communication worked and he got the information instantly from B after this follow-up. So think about it. What is the difference that made the difference? What is the structure we are talking about over here? Made it relevant. Exactly. It's not just about getting into B's shoes and realizing that B is busy. But where is B's shoes hurting B? Where is that shoe pinching? B is already stuck in firefighting and troubleshooting and emergency situations. He doesn't want more of it. Highlight that. Highlight that pain point. That is where the shoe is pinching. And I'm going to take away that pinch, that pain from you. If you give me this. And when that clarity came, the structure automatically got created that way. Now, what I want you to do over here is think about the situation that you are in. And wherever it's like, why should it matter? I'm just scrolling up. Why should it matter to your customer that this is a final and no regret price? Why should that negotiation matter? Why should you convince the client to get desired outcome? Why is that desired outcome for you could be a desired outcome for the other person? There is one simple rule from the book, Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference. He says that you need to show the other person how what you want is a journey to what they want. And when this becomes clear, you don't need extra rich vocabulary, grammar, creativity. You need structure, clarity. How to put it in the way that what I want is on the pathway of what you want. And that's where it becomes a win-win. And this is where the difference of thinking comes in. So far, are we clear? What are your aha moments so far before I get into the next section? Yes and yes. Yeah. So as I told you, I'm sharing with you deep secrets and insights from NLP without teaching you NLP. And that is what NLP Writers Code is also all about. So let me share. Please keep sharing in the chat while I continue further. So some NLP tools for effective and powerful written communication. The hidden architecture behind clear writing. Yes, thank you, Veena. Right. So representation systems in writing. Now, what are representation systems? Again, NLP jargon, but let's debunk that. VAK simply stands for what you see, what you hear, what you feel. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Okay, pardon me for using NLP words in this. The intention is not to teach you what is representation system. It is to teach you how to use some powerful insights in written communication. People make sense of communication by connecting it to their senses. In the mind, there are some memory banks, some processes that happen where people connect it through what they see, what they feel, and what they hear. In writing, yeah. Okay, so even in writing, you use words like, let me show you the right picture. Let me show you what will happen when this works for you. You will get a better picture of it. Can you imagine how this would be the best deal for you, because our pricing comes with the value that we are giving you? And although we may not be able to lower the price, we will show you a lot of benefit by giving you an additional bonus. Show you. And you can use this in written communication. When the people are reading, their mental representations are already creating pictures. I hope that sounds like a good deal for both of us. Sound, discuss, tune in. These are auditory words. Blend them into your writing. Kinesthetic. This will give you a feel of what lies ahead for you. And the experience is going to be super great when we are going to work together. Okay, I'm just using some random words as I'm explaining this. But the idea is that in your writing, first write a rough draft. But then see if you can embellish it, enrich it with visual, auditory, kinesthetic words. This is the basic stage of NLP insights into writing. And let me share one example with you about a sales pitch of a computer. Okay, imagine this. Imagine if this is written on an email, or it could be computer or whatever, which you are trying to sell or communicate to your end user. This computer looks powerful, and it is powerful. The monitor is beautifully designed to look good in your workspace. All you will hear when you switch on is the purr of the machine working. The sound system is powerful and plays your series with breathtaking clarity and tone. The keyboard is ergonomically designed to be comfortable and easy to use, and the layout is attractive. What do you notice over here? What do you see in the language which is used? And notice that I'm saying, what do you see in the language that is used for all the visuals here? VAK, yes. No specifications. Yeah. Right? Let the technical manual do the work of the specifications. They are all printed stuff. I mean, even this is printed, written stuff. But when you are adding appeal to the end user, you talk about the representation systems in their terms. Improper use of VAK. It's not improper use. It is effective use of VAK. Looks good. Yeah. All language wrote to be sold. Yes. Beautiful. Right? And that lies the power of making your written communication attractive. Now, these are all tools of creating further enhancement. But the core comes back to the three pillars. When you have your structure, that is what I mean when I said that your language doesn't have to be grammatically correct only. It also has to be dramatically correct. And dramatically correct is when you're using with awareness, with consciousness, how it can help you. Okay, even in writing, when you create that insight, the next NLP tool I'll share with you, I'll just briefly touch upon it, is chunking. Chunking is a simple tool from NLP which helps you to help the other person zoom out and zoom in. So, like chunking up, okay, what is the big picture? What is this important? How will it help you? Like the example I told you earlier. Getting this information will help your department to reduce the emergencies that they are handling. That is chunking up. Why should they do that? What is the larger purpose? What is the bigger picture? And for this purpose, the exact detailing that I need from you is this particular machine, this particular spare part of the machine. What is the year of supply? What is that code number? Blah blah blah. And that is where chunking down. So you know when to chunk up, when to chunk down, even in any kind of communication. And that is the power of using language to bring that out. I'll share another example that can be useful in written communication, which is precision in writing. In NLP, we call it the meta model. But let's understand in simple, practical, usable terms how it is put to use. One example of chunking. Okay, sure. Let me take that example. Let me take it after I complete this. Okay. So, because the next example, we are going to work on putting all this together. So, precision is when language is used, a lot of things are just, um, used very vaguely. Few things are deleted. Few things are just associated in different way. Few things are just generalized very, very commonly. So there are correcting the distortions that appear in language. For example, when this particular client said that if I talk to my that other colleague who's senior, he may feel offended. It's an example of a distortion. X means Y. Mentally, we are distorting pictures to realize that if this happens, that happens. What is the connection? Are you asking for some personal favor from the person? See, when the emotional clarity, when that emotional clutter is there, all these kind of distortions show up. So, bringing precision is in correcting distortions. Adding anything which is missing, what is deleted, adding the missing specifics. Anything which is vague, challenging that. And increasing the precision, increasing the clarity, increasing what exactly is expected, what exactly is used in communication. So let's take an example together. Okay, let's say a person, a team member, a customer, anyone in your life is writing a mail to you. Things are not working and the project is delayed. Okay, what would you like to clarify over here? Or rather, how would you clarify? What questions would you ask? Okay, let's say it is very, very clear there is a particular project that a person is working on. Okay, I'll give you some more context. Let's create some more context around this. A team member is working on a project and that project is getting delayed. Now, what that project is, you also know, team member also knows. Okay. And when you are following up, okay, please give me the status of the project. We were supposed to achieve this milestone by today. Are we on track? And the team member responds, things are not working and the project is delayed. How will you respond? What is not working? Why it is not working? What can be done to bring project on track? Very good. What else? Come on, everyone, please participate. And here come the questions of chunking as well. Okay, but yeah, these are all chunking questions. But what would you like to clarify? What do we need to finish it? Kindly highlight the challenges for the delay. Okay, okay. What else do you want to complete the task? Okay. Guys, you are all missing out on something. Keep asking, maybe it will evolve. Working according to which context? Yes, that is an example of chunking down. Quarter, year. Yeah, come on, ask more questions. Let's get into it. What is not working? Right? What is not working? What can be done? That is what Bharat had also put. But what is not working? What do you mean by things? ये things तो बहुत vague है ना? And understand. Firstly, before we even look at the clarity questions, think about it if you were in a situation like this. And think about it, if you are a stakeholder in a situation like this where you are expecting a project to be completed on time and you are just asking for a status update, hoping the team member responds that yeah, everything is on track. And the person responds, things are not working, project is delayed. Just imagine you being in that situation right now, you getting a mail like that or a message like that. What will happen to your state? What will happen to your emotion? For most of us, what will happen to the emotional trigger in you? Anger, right? Or irritation, or worried, or feeling bad, or what the hell? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Only when I'm asking you, telling me. And think about it, if you are going to ask any kind of question from this state of anger, irritation, worriedness, what kind of questions will probably come up? Your state will reflect in your communication. You're going to ask the person, why are things delayed? Why didn't you tell me earlier? What can we do to make it happen? Okay, these may be useful questions, but the state is going to pass on in a way that the other person is going to feel defensive. Oh, I did something wrong. Okay. So, firstly, recognize your state. What is your intention here? To get into the depth, to ensure the project gets completed on time. State, upset, worried, triggered, anxious, whatever. Reset your state. And how to do that is other part of a topic altogether. But reset your state, come back, use your anchors if you can, and come back to your normal, to your senses basically, and process what has been communicated. Things are not working, project is getting delayed. Firstly, look at that what has come. Is it clear? Even before you ask, how can we make it happen? Are you even clear? How can you make what happen? So chunking here is about chunking down into asking which are the things which are not working. What precisely? And general communication ऐसा ही होता है. It's like so vague that you can make any sense of it. The other person can make any sense of it. Like that Bollywood song is, जाने क्या तूने कही, जाने क्या मैंने सुनी, बात कुछ बनी गई. But वो बात नहीं बनती जो बननी चाहिए. So think about it. Exactly what is that clarity that you need? Precision questions, meta model, precision questions is about this, that what is not working? What exactly? And delayed by how much? Delayed could be by 1 day, it could be by 1 week, it could even be by 1 year. What are you talking about? So, firstly, acknowledge that where they are coming from, and then ask, fill in the deletions, correct the generalizations, and clarify the distortions in the message. And that is one of the aspects of chunking it down into clarity. Chunking up would be, why is this important? What is not working? Where is it stuck? And how is it affecting the larger picture? Today's milestone not being met, how it will affect our bigger goal. So, and then come to, how can we make it happen? What do you need from me? Do you need any help, any support from my end to make it happen? Okay, so clarity is coming from specificity. Precision comes from credibility. And good writing comes from clear thinking. Keep this in mind. And this is about understanding how you can use simple tools of creating clarity in what you're communicating. And then the bridge between the emotion and the expression. Because your state, as I mentioned earlier, will reflect in your expression. Think about it. You are trying to communicate something, and I'm sure we have enough ample of examples of it. Have you realized that the state that you are in creates the state in the way you express it through your communication? For example, your mental state reflects on the pen, through the pen on paper. If you're calm, your expression will be clear. If you're confused, your expression will be messy. It will appear like a catharsis where it is not meant to be a catharsis. And like that common Three Idiots का वो scene है ना, भाई कहना क्या चाहते हो? That is what happens when the confused state creates a messy communication. भाई कहना क्या चाहते हो? When you are anxious, like that project getting delayed, the expression becomes forced. Arre, tell me more, like as if you're doing a third degree interrogation on the person. And when you're doubtful, your voice, or voice here means your tone in your writing, loses its appearance, loses its strength. So as you go through this, think about situations in your life where you were calm and how was the expression. A situation where you were confused and how was the expression. A situation when you were anxious, how was the expression? And a situation where you were doubtful, how was that expression? So what comes to your mind? I'll share a simple 20-second principle to, or a 20-second process that you can do simply to reset your state. First, tell me which state is most helpful while communicating. Out of these four, calm, right? So then tell me one thing. Does that mean that you should not be confused, anxious, or doubtful? Does that mean that you are doing something wrong by becoming confused, anxious, or doubtful? नहीं होना चाहिए. Avoid these states. What do you think? Go on, be honest to yourself and tell me, should you never be confused, anxious, doubtful, irritated, angry? Right. Get back to the calm state. Don't think I'm wrong by being confused or anxious or doubtful. Nothing wrong. One principle in NLP, every behavior has a positive intention and every emotion also has a positive intention. Confusion is a sign that you need clarity. Being anxious is a sign that you need some relief. And being doubtful is a sign that there are some gaps to fill in, or there is some assurance that you need. They are not negative emotions. Recognize these and utilize these as triggers or as clues, as cues for you to know that the moment I'm feeling this is what I need to get to. And that is where the reset process comes in. Reset yourself to the resourceful state, to the calm state, to the clarity state. Take a deep breath. Most powerful, your breathing brings you in the present moment from wherever you are. Because either whatever unresourceful state of lack of clarity or confusion or doubt or anxiety, anxiousness is coming from either a worry about the past or the future. अरे पहले भी ये हुआ अब अभी क्या होगा? So either coming from past or future. One deep breath, inhale, exhale, will reset you to present, neither past nor future. And ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What do I want the reader to feel? And what outcome do I want? Use your emotion as a bridge to your expression. Use your emotion as a bridge to your expression, and you will find wonders in your communication. So we will be covering all this and much more in depth in the NLP Writers Code Season 2. All right. So before I share something with you about NLP Writers Code and what special offer we have for you today, what insights have you got from today's session? Type in the chat box your key takeaways from today. Please share in the chat box what are your key takeaways from today.